good counter punching, a lot of speed, a lot of power. Utilizes very good movement. So how are you? Is there anything that you're doing differently in the training camp to prepare for that kind of fighter, that kind of style in the ring?
The only thing I would say I would do differently is switch up my sparring partners and be a little bit more on my feet. So I've been coming forward a lot of my past fights. I've been more of the aggressor, power puncher. I think the only thing different for this fight is, obviously Canelo takes a pretty good shot. He's very elusive in his upper body, so we want to make sure that we're a little faster on our feet and with our hands and with our combinations than we're used to seeing in some of my previous fights.
Hey Danny, on a recent call, Canelo said he felt that you won the fight against Triple G.
Yeah.
He has a lot of respect for you. He also said that you're the most unique opponent he ever fought. So what's your respect level for him? Like, do you feel that he's as good as everybody says he is?
Only time will tell, but as far as respect, I mean, I give him all the respect in the world.
Well, I mean, like on the outside looking in,
yeah.
Do you feel that he's as good, like, somewhere in the top 5 pound for pound? Do you feel that he's?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely top 10 pound for pound. I would say I would rate Canelo because there are some controversial fights that he had that I felt like he lost, and I thought he lost both fights with Golovkin. But as far as respect, yeah, I mean, I respect any opponent that steps foot inside that ring and faces another man. This is a kill to be killed sport. So, but that's where the respect ends. As far as going inside that ring and wanting to be the victor, wanting to take his head off, and wanting to prove to the world that I'm the best gladiator out in the world that there is, that's my true intention. So there's no respect when it comes to that. But we're both gentlemen, and we're both, in my opinion, great ambassadors for the sport. So it shows. But outside of that, I mean, once we're inside that square ring, it's gonna be a blood sport.
Okay. One more thing I wanted to ask you is, are you tired of talking about the judges? It seems like every interview somebody asks you, are you worried?
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z. Do you have to knock them out, knock
Yeah.
out, knock out, knock out? And in your last couple fights, you haven't got the knockout, but you always got a knockdown.
Yeah.
So, that the kind of like, I mean, probably not in your head, but is it like annoying to you at some point? Just like, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
We got the judges.
I mean,
like,
yeah, it's a little annoying that we keep having to talk about judges and them not being fair or giving Canelo favoritism. It is annoying, but it's also a fact in most people's minds. So I think that's why it's talked about so much. So I mean, I don't mind answering the question, but it could be a bit of annoying because I want to be able to go in there with a clear mind frame that I don't have to fight 2 people, well, not 2 people, but how many judges are there? So what, 4 people, right? I don't want to have to feel like I got more stress on me than I need to, because Canelo is a force in himself, and it's going to take, in my mind, it's going to take a lot to figure him out.
Okay. Kind of contradicting myself because now I'm about to ask you a question about the judges, but the Lara fight, people felt he lost. The Triple G fight, said he felt he lost both. So, is it kind of hard to look back at those tapes? Because it's like, okay, I felt like this guy won and this guy won, but he didn't get the decision. So is it kind of hard to have somebody to choose, okay, I'm going to watch this fight, other than Mayweather, which was so long ago? Right. Is it kind of hard?
No, it's not really hard. I still study the Lara's fights. I still study fights in both Triple G fights. I still study fights in which most people thought he lost, because for me, those are his bad habits, right? And those are what guys were able to exploit, some of his bad habits. Now, Canelo may have the best upper body movement and head movement, but his legs and his knees doesn't really hold up well, and he can't really cut the ring off. Let's say like a Sergey Derevchenko or Golovkin, or somebody like that who's a power pressure type of guy. So we look at certain things like that, and then me being one of the longest fighters that he's faced, too, and being so fast, I think I'll be able to really use that to my advantage.
And the last thing that I wanted to ask you is, you said this is kind of like your legacy fight. I think a lot of people feel you win this fight, you go into the Hall of Fame. Even if you don't, you still got great shots. You have a long career ahead of you. Going forward, do you feel as though, do you feel like you get the respect from everybody? Not just, I mean, if you look at the middleweight list, you're probably, probably everybody will have you either 2 or 3, either behind Canelo or, maybe behind Canelo and Triple G, something like that. So you get a lot of respect there. but at least I don't ever see you on the pound for pound. And I think you deserve like a lot of consideration for it because you fought like a lot of good fighters. You have really great style. You've knocked out a bunch of people. Do you feel like you get the respect in that aspect?
Yeah, that's a good question because sometimes in boxing you really have to prove yourself, and if you didn't have the name and the power and the brand to really be marketed to the world, you really have to still work at that to get that recognition. So I think with a win over Canelo, I would be given everything that I'm rightfully so deserved. But as far as not being in pound for pound list or none of that stuff really matters to me because that's all about the fans anyway. They can pick and choose who they see fit as far as pound for pound list goes and who they like, and that's a favoritism thing anyway. So if I'm not the fans' favorite after this fight, then I got a lot more work to do. But my job is really not to
Forget
worry
about
so much about that. It's really just to go in there and be victorious because it's still my job. So.
Forget about the skills though. Do you think it's probably because you're not an asshole? Like you're like a super nice guy. You literally talk to everybody as opposed to maybe some other guys probably won't talk to everybody, but you're like just super chill and really cool.
I know. For the most part, not just in boxing, but in sports and in the world, controversy sells. So, I mean, I'm not sure if that's why I'm not a bigger household name, but I can't really focus on that. Where I come from, I stay true to who I am. How I was raised, I will always keep that integrity as far as being a stand-up guy. And me having a child, I know he watches everything that I do, so I can't be goofy, like some of these dudes are out here in the world just to get more ratings. So, like I said, boxing is my job, and I make sure that I come to work prepared every day to be victorious.
Got you. Appreciate you, man.